game looks really cool. I like it. I like it a lot. It's lightweight and simple. No, I find that too many games that indie devs make, some guy who's like ultra deep, like elbow deep into a genre. So he's like, I'm gonna make this the greatest RTS of all time. And they go for like so many layered mechanics and all these little cool gameplay things and whatever. And they end up making a game that most people don't want to play. Like some people will, but it's not very playable for the average person. Whereas this game is just super playable. Like anyone could pick this up and be having fun with it. Huge problem for roguelike deck builders too. It's funny because like every other indie game is a roguelike deck builder, which is like my favorite genre, you know. I'm happy about that, but they layer 500 mechanics on, and I'm like, hey, no one wants to take the time to learn this game. People just want to jump in and play it and be like, do I like this? Yes or no? Right? Yeah, deck builders get a little crazy, a little overdone with some stuff. People overcook like crazy. You know, this is something I realized about a lot of indie devs too. A lot of them have the attitude that, actually, it's the same problem with streamers, I want to say. A lot of the community that interacts with these things is like, how dare you try to make money off of this? This should be your passion. You should be making your little indie games because you love games, and you should never charge a price that gets you paid. You should like eat nothing and starve and die in a basement making the game for the love of video games, right? And then you know, you'll make a game and you'll put it out there and you'll realize that you know, it's wow, it's really hard to make money doing this. So you know, then people realize, oh man, the next time I make a game, I want to try to monetize it. And then they try it and people be like, oh, your first project was clearly for passion, but this one, obviously it's just a money grab. And people are like, I'm just trying to make money doing the thing that I like. I'm trying to make it work. And I know it's possible because there's a whole industry. Why am I getting like lambasted for both? You know, but I see a lot of people treat indie devs like that. And I think the same thing happens with streamers. So then you also run into people, the devs themselves, sometimes having this issue too. They'll be like, I want to make a game that I'm super passionate about, that is really good, but also I want to make money, which means you can't make a game for yourself anymore. You can have the base idea be for yourself, but when you tune it and when you decide a lot of things as you're going, it has to be for the people that are gonna play it and not for you. And a lot of indie devs will make a game that they really like, and then when other people don't like it, they get pissed. They're like, people just don't get blah, 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 blah. You know, people don't understand. Blah, 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 blah. You guys just don't know what good games are. Like, you get a lot of that. And I've just noticed a lot of that. There was one game I had played off stream somewhat recently, and I saw the dev on Twitter, the main dev, like complaining a fuck ton about people just not buying and playing their game and giving it a chance. They're like, people don't give indie games a chance anymore. So I bought and played their game and I tested off stream and it was good, but there were a few things about it that made it such a slog. And I was like, you literally have to change like 3 things. But they were so focused on like the artsy fartsiness, and you had to care about their dramatic story that they were telling you. And I was like, you should have just wiped this out of the game, made it more simplistic. But they cared about the deep story. Oh my God. I was just like, I could tell why people weren't playing their game, because it was like overly verbose and up its own ass a little too far with the story and I was just like, dog, people don't want this. Oh, actually a good example, a game that was up its own ass a little bit too much to be successful was Omega Strikers. That game was fun and people kept telling them, hey, this is good, but when you increased the game lengths, I no longer wanted to sit there and play it. And they were like, but we know what good games are. We're so experienced. And I said multiple times in multiple places where you can leave feedback, I was like, your game's gonna fail because of your game length. like I started saying it really nicely, and then over time I started saying it like that. I was like, your game is going to fail. People are going to stop playing it because the game length is bad, and you keep making it more and more mobile-like and not just like fun 10-minute matches like they first were. You know, the thing that made people want to play it at first. And they stuck it out, they held out, and now their game, like, no one plays it anymore. And I was like, yep, that's why, man. It was a shame. It had so much potential. But yeah, so stupid, man. It had so much potential, and it was really good at the start, and then they just failed. They failed so hard because they just refused to focus on what other people wanted and not what they wanted. What a shame, man. But I'm telling you, some devs just get like really up their own asses about like their vision for their game. Knowing your player base is shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, because like I see streaming like this too. There are people that will make the content that they want to make, and then they're like, I don't understand why people don't watch it. I'm so passionate. I'm like, people like things like Coco Melon, okay? Like, and then you're like, why don't they watch me video essaying about blah, 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 blah on stream? And I'm like, brother, I'm sorry. People want things and you might want something different. And, you know, I don't know, but I see streaming as like, there's a middle ground. I have times where I do things that are purely for me. And then there are times where I do things where I'm like, I'm neutral on whether I do X, Y, or Z, but I'll pick Z because that's what the community would want. Like, that doesn't feel bad to do at all. I'm like, oh yay, everyone's having a good time hanging out. All right. You know, like, I don't know. I just see that as positive. But some streamers get so mad when people don't like their direction. Why don't people watch streamers that only play games from the 80s? I don't get it. My games are so based. I'm like, brother, I'm sorry, but that's not what most people want.